remember the mic today. What's going on? Today we are going to be out here at the Fort Collins food truck rally. This is kind of like another weekly thing that they put on. Weather is looking, doesn't look awful, but it hasn't been great all day. So hopefully we won't get rained out. Honestly, I wasn't thinking there were going to be a lot of people showing up just because of the way that the weather's been, but it's kind of just pulling into the park where this thing is held and it's already popping. As always, Fuji X-Pro 2 with the 18mm f2. Let's get it. So it was a nice day, tried to go to the park, record this whole segment, and the lav that I used was broken. I just want to go through the images, kind of walk through the day and see what we got. Let's dive in. So it's super common for me to take a whole bunch of shots of nothing stuff on my way to an event. I mean, this was just like a spider web of slackline. It was kind of insane, but stopped, took a few photos here, kind of asked this guy what the deal was. I think he was maybe a little too stoned to have a conversation. So, you know, just not great photos, but again, just this, you know, kind of warming up the shutter button. And then we came over to the event and kind of coming over the hill to the other side of the park and seeing just how many people there actually were there. Decided to kind of start popping off wide shots. Again, still getting loose for the day. So I did want to shoot this with an editorial in mind. This might be in a local paper, this might be used in the organizer's newsletter or something like that. So I did want to try and get wides, mediums, and close-up shots. At the end of the day, I don't think I really did that, but the one thing that I did try and do on this day was get a shot of each of the food trucks. Really just wanted to try and showcase the crowds around the trucks and, you know, hey, there's interest, there's people here. And then this guy shows up. I still don't know what to make of this. He's just blaring on the megaphone about taxes and representation and everything, and I just kind of started snapping away. Totally missed focus on most of them, but it was kind of interesting. The second that I did start shooting him, he got really uncomfortable. And if you're going to be weird and kind of an asshole and kind of ruin people's day with whatever it is you're doing here, you would think that you'd be a little bit more confident about it, but I don't know. Anyway, now this one, again, I was just trying to get these wides of the trucks. This guy's uber short shorts definitely caught my attention. Something I didn't notice until I got into editing though is this young woman just staring at me, which is something that happens so often here and I don't know what to do about it. I mean, we'll see in a couple other images throughout the day. I mean, it's just like this death stare down the lens that you come even close to bringing the viewfinder up and people are just deer in the headlights and super uncomfortable with it. Just an interesting thing that, again, we'll see throughout the images here, but really did like this image. Just this kind of tender embrace from the two on the right. It's not really something that I've seen here. PDA doesn't really happen. Even something like holding hands is kind of like an odd occurrence. I wish I didn't cut them off at the feet though. I did try and kind of get in a little bit closer to get more of a close-up shot and more head-on, but they had kind of moved on. And then this is another kind of tender embrace image. Something I didn't notice until I got into editing was the reflection of the woman on the left in the glasses. So thought that was pretty cool. Still probably too wide, but you know, it is what it is. Shot this just kind of thinking, again, editorial, something that's kind of like your quintessential, oh, people interacting with each other at this event. Newspaper or newsletter or something like that in mind, really not a whole lot going on here. This guy though, I didn't see him until he was almost on top of me. And I was focused at 7 to 10 feet and he was coming at me pretty quickly and was already at about 5 feet. I was shooting at f8 here, so I wasn't too concerned, but kind of like I said, I'm focused at like 7 to 10 feet just because getting close to anyone at any event out here, it's almost impossible. So I just kind of threw focus and kind of leaned back a little and kind of hoped for the best. And for throwing focus like that on the fly, I mean, I think I hit it. So definitely one of my favorite images from today. Moving on though, the color on the shirt and the color of the fries kind of really stood out. The hat's also kind of cool as well, but I actually shot this pretty much from the hip. So for a lot of the day, I was actually kind of walking around in here, shooting from the hip like this. So with this image, I actually just kind of turned and I think focus hit, but she was, again, very acutely aware of there's a camera. Not really sure what to do about that, but I mean, this one is just a perfect example of these people are so just instantly locked in, you know, and again, I'm getting a wide of this food truck. This has nothing to do with this person. Makes the photo, it breaks the photo, I don't really know, but I think I might just keep this in just because she's the only person looking even close to that direction, you know. So I don't know, maybe it's interesting, but. And then there's this guy who he was happy to see the camera or something, I don't know. This outfit really just stood out to me. Cowboy boots, fishnets, neon, you know, Hot Topic kind of sweatshirt, and it looked like a cheerleader's outfit underneath, just a whole lot going on. The idea was just so all over the place that, you know, I just shot it. So then I came across these guys. They were the Democratic Communist Party of Colorado or something. I don't know, but stopped and had a chat with them. You know, hey man, what's the deal? Are you out here protesting? Are you looking to recruit? Like what are you doing here? Why are you flying a flag? Why you got your face all covered up? And none of them knew why they were there. You'd think that you'd have a mission statement or an elevator pitch or something, you know, but they didn't. So I don't know. Anyway, this one just instantly caught my eye. The longer you look, the weirder it gets. And that was about as far as that thought went. Did kind of want to hang out here for a little bit and maybe try and get some medium shots of the vendors passing the food out, interacting with people and stuff, but didn't really, you know, work out. It just kind of started to get a little messy and I wasn't really able to get that close. So patterns, maybe, kind of, I don't know. I've tried to be very loose with what I'm shooting, especially since it's digital. You have it, shoot it, you know, why not? This is probably the coolest one, the coffee and tea shop, but it's got just a terrible location right in front of the Porta-Johns, so almost never anybody over there, which is crazy because the corn dog truck always had somebody. I mean, this massive line just all the way around the block, basically. It was crazy all day. But this guy's glasses were kind of cool, but really nothing there. This guy, though, this was one of the ones where I brought the camera up and he was just not having it. And then I just said, you know, hey man, I love the look, you know, whatever, as he roller skates by, and he kind of laughed and gave me a thumbs up. But I mean, dude, you can't be on like whatever kind of rollerblades these are, zipping through an event and not expect somebody to look at you. I mean, come on, man. More wides. And then we just started making our way back to the other end, so where we came from. And that was pretty much all I did all day, was kind of one way, the other way, one way, the other way. You know, again, just trying to look for somebody interesting, something interesting, kind of like this guy with the knucklehead sweatshirt, snapped a photo, stopped and asked, and apparently it's some local brand or something. I don't know, probably a buddy of his runs it or something like that. Snake on the side, he was pretty hyped on, so I got a shot of that too. Into the field, whatever this is, kind of reminded me of X-Files, which I really like. So this is probably the best photo of the day. This is probably the best photo I've taken all month. Unfortunately though, I did have to crop in like a lot just because I've completely f***ed the frame. Again, this idea of kind of tender embrace, and kind of saw it and had to hit it. And yeah, I mean, I love this one. This older gentleman with, you know, whatever streetwear brand he's wearing, the jacket was kind of cool. So longboard was kind of cool, but this guy on the right is actually another photographer. And I saw probably 4, maybe 5 photographers, and only one of them was like cordial. It was a guy by the name of Matt who's done photography, who's trying to get into video production, which is funny because I've been doing video production for the last 5 years and I'm trying to move professionally into photography. The other photographers at this event, I saw them and kind of gave them a, hey, how you doing, sup nod, and they just, I don't know what the deal was, but that was like every other photographer that I saw there. Another thing on that too, of the 4 other photographers that I saw there, almost all of them were shooting on a longer lens. And I mean, at least 1 or 2 who were literally, I mean, you know, behind the food trucks kind of doing this, and then, you know, like, that's just weird. I'm finding personally that shooting in a place like this on a 28 is almost impossible. It is so fucking difficult, it's insane. People are very hesitant, people are very on guard, people are very aware. So I definitely understand the utility of a longer lens in a place like this. It just feels weird to me. Do what you gotta do what you wanna do, but to me, shooting on a long lens and kind of hiding behind things and trying not to be seen that's not the way to do this. I digress. Kind of started to move out into the field a little bit. Again, wider shots, really just showcasing, look how many people there are. Just got some shots of some people kind of setting up, breaking down, moving around. Again, wider shots of the event itself. And then while I was walking around, I actually came across this woman who was sleeping. I mean, like full on taking a nap in the middle of this event, which I thought was just the funniest thing. Came across this couple, 2 black hats, 2 people, 2 bikes. Did think it was maybe a nice kind of perspective, you know, kind of what they're seeing. And after a quick lap through the field, kind of made my way back into the food truck area. Again, just trying to showcase the crowds and stuff. This woman stood out, just the red of the sweater, the yellow of the blanket. Just, I saw her once or twice kind of while I was making my rounds and everything. And I thought, you know, there's nothing there, don't shoot it. And it just kind of came back. So I was like, you know what, fine, I'll just take it. There's nothing here, but the colors were nice. Saw this guy in a cowboy hat, had to ask him for a portrait. That's the other thing too. I was shooting full manual and completely borked every portrait I tried to take. Every time I just dropped the lens to 2.8, didn't change anything else, and just completely borked it. I mean, just totally overexposed. So there were some really good portraits in here that just, this person, I don't know, is just kind of very fisherman-esque with the hat and the trench coat, and at the seafood food truck. 2 denim jackets, a bob cut, and the camp hat really just reminded me of your like 2010s kind of indie couple thing. I really liked this guy's hat, and then once I took the image, I kind of realized like this is just, it's boring. It's really boring. It's not flattering. Came across this guy who was juggling, kind of saw him at a distance and kind of upped the pace and kind of tried to get in and get one candid. He just immediately noticed me and kind of dropped everything, and I was like, dude, you know, just as I was about to take a shot, and he picked it up again. So I got 2 or 3 shots. The first one is probably the better of them. Maybe that last one, but I don't know. This is a scene that I have seen at this event almost every single time. So this is behind the food trucks. These people are always over here. I don't know if it's the same people, but every time I'm here, there's always at least one couple who's over there doing their own thing. So I've tried to shoot it 2 or 3 times. I still haven't gotten it. I think the second might be the better of the 2, but again, more crowd shots. And again, I mean, this is what I've been mentioning. The way that these people are so acutely aware of the camera is just, it's crazy to me. You know, I noticed just the entire outfit of both of these people and thought it was kind of interesting, and did want to just kind of shoot from the hip. You know, as I mentioned, I'm kind of in here most of the day, and I'm kind of walking and kind of doing this, and this shot was pretty much that. That was the movement. Some reason, somehow, again, it's just right at the camera, you know. More of crowd shots. This was actually probably one of the best shots of the day, and I didn't even mean to take this. I actually stopped and I was having a conversation with an older gentleman, just kind of shooting the shit. You know, afterwards I kind of walking away and I readjusted and must have shot this. So funny enough, this is probably one of the best shots of the day, and I didn't even mean to take it. So more crowd shots, interesting outfit, kinda, sorta. This guy's hair was actually killer. I love the hair, love the visor, love the jacket. Got this, took one step forward just to try and get something a little bit closer up, more of his hair in focus. And I was just outside of my focusing zone, and then he immediately just kind of turned and burned. I'm not somebody that's really gonna follow somebody or chase them down for anything. So this is probably one of the better crowd shots of the day. The light was just perfect at this point. We're kind of getting later on in the day. This woman kind of like looking at the truck, trying to read the menu and everything with that light coming in, I thought was pretty cool. And then we're back out into the field again. More wide shots, again, more wide shots. You know, and we're kind of wrapping up for the day here. You know, the sun's kind of starting to get a little bit lower, so we're getting some really cool light and everything. But, you know, we've kind of exhausted our time at the event and everything. So a couple of crowd shots kind of into the sun, kind of trying to get something, play with the light a little bit. And I did come across this guy who had this flower in his hair. I have no idea what it was, but I asked him where he got it, and he said he just found it on the floor. So pretty goofy, but this was another one of those instances where, hey man, let me get a portrait. Shot 1 or 2 at f8, and then just threw it to 2.8 and just didn't adjust anything else. And the exposure was just completely overblown. No salvaging it whatsoever. So kind of hate this. I don't know what happened here, like with this motion blur, but this woman holding the Frisbee up to kind of block out the light, thought it was pretty cool. I can't tell if it's like out of focus or it's motion blur or something, but whatever it is, it missed. I like the concept, so I kept it. It is what it is. Sometimes you miss them. And then heading back to the car, and we got a couple of people on slack lines still kind of going on. I didn't want to bother them too much, didn't want to get in their way, and that's so wide shots for these, and that's pretty much it. Better than I thought it would be. Weather held, which was cool. Met Matt, which was cool. Photographer is starting to do video, so saw him, saw one or two other photographers here too, so good to see that this is kind of like an event that people get out to and everything. Was out for about an hour, kind of finding that that's like the sweet spot. More than an hour and it kind of starts to get a little, you know, repetitive, I guess. Just kind of seeing the same people over and over, getting the same shots over and over. So that's gonna do it for this one.